The mining colony of Kepler 442b was devoid of compassion. Under the blazing twin suns, humans and Zephyrians toiled together in the shimmering quarries. Their bodies stooped beneath the burden of imperial demands and the constant scrutiny of the ruling overseers. Marcus Chun had spent 3 long years on this desolate planet. Ever since the Earth Defense Corps had capitulated and humanity was relegated to the status of just another client species within the sprawling galactic empire. He focused intently on his task, maintaining a low profile, and made an effort to avoid dwelling on the clear, inviting skies of his homeland. That was before he encountered Lyra. The young Zephyrian female had just begun her adult cycles, her iridescent scales still displaying the gentle pastels of youth instead of the rich purples of maturity. She toiled in the sorting bays, her hands deft and skilled, as she meticulously distinguished the precious quantum crystals from the mundane rock. What distinguished her was not her speed, but her warmth. As the other extraterrestrials maintained their distance from the humans, viewing them as a subjugated race, Lyra would generously offer her water rations whenever the heat became intolerable. She would take her time with her own tasks to assist older individuals in reaching their goals. Small gestures of kindness that ignited a flame Marcus believed had extinguished when Earth fell. On a Tuesday morning, the situation escalated when Overseer Krell, a formidable Varaxian with a tough exterior and piercing yellow gaze, uncovered a deficit in the crystal delivery. A person had been discreetly taking small quantities to exchange for additional food or medical necessities. It was a serious crime under the prevailing legal authority. The incident occurred in Sorting Bay 7. Krell's voice resonated through the gathered workers, his translator unit amplifying the intensity of his words. There is a dishonest individual among us. Advance now and endure merely 10 strikes. Compel me to delve into this matter, and the responsible individual will meet their end. Marcus observed as the vibrant hue of Lyra's scales diminished, her once gentle blue transforming into a pallid gray. Her expansive, multifaceted eyes flickered anxiously, and he felt a heavy realization settle in that she was indeed the one, likely gathering crystals to procure medicine for her sick clutch mother or sustenance for her younger siblings. The sort of frantic compassion that could lead to her demise. The seconds elongated as if they were hours. Krell's patience was dwindling, his imposing figure shifting as he readied himself to follow through on his promise of inquiry. Everyone understood the implications of that statement. Interrogation rooms, mind-reading devices, and ultimately a highly publicized execution to serve as a warning. Marcus felt an impulse to move ahead, his logical thoughts unable to intervene in time. It was I, he declared, his tone unwavering even as fear surged within him. I acquired the crystals. Krell's head turned sharply in his direction, a keen curiosity shining in those yellow eyes. The individual acknowledges wrongdoing. Absolutely. A public exhibition of 10 lashes. This should serve as a valuable lesson for all employees. As the throng faded away, Marcus locked onto Lyra's gaze. She gazed at him, her face a canvas of emotions he struggled to decipher. Astonishment, appreciation, and an underlying emotion. Her brothers, Zane and Cato, 2 formidable fighters even by Zephyrian standards, stood beside her in a protective manner. They observed Marcus with inscrutable faces as he was taken away. The punishment occurred at midday, when the twin suns were at their most vigorous and the gathered laborers could observe each instant. Marcus found himself bound to the punishment post at the heart of the compound, his shirt removed to reveal his back to the onlookers and the feared neural lash. The neural lash transcended mere weaponry. It embodied the pinnacle of torment, meticulously crafted into a form of artistry. Every blow unleashed torrents of suffering throughout the nervous system, a torment that resembled molten flames coursing through each nerve ending. It was crafted to ensure the individual remained aware and vocal, a display intended to dissuade any future transgressions. Krell elevated the weapon with deliberate grace. May this human suffering serve as a poignant reminder of the cost of resistance. The initial strike hit with the force of a thunderbolt brought to life. Marcus clenched his jaw tightly, feeling the metallic tang of blood, determined not to grant Krell the pleasure of his cries. The second strike almost broke his determination, his legs giving way as a surge of energy coursed up his back, culminating in a burst of light behind his eyes. By the fifth strike, the gathered audience had become uneasy. While many of the punished were squirming and pleading at this point, Marcus stood tall, his jaw set in a fierce resolve. Even Krell appeared taken aback by the human's tenacity. The seventh strike shattered something within Marcus, not his resolve, but something far more profound. As the pain enveloped him, he found his thoughts drifting away from his own suffering, instead focusing on Lyra's tender hands offering water in the sweltering heat, on her siblings who could have perished without those pilfered crystals, on the quiet gestures of compassion in a harsh world. The eighth and ninth blows landed, yet he remained upright, blood cascading down his back in vivid rivulets. His breath labored but his gaze unwavering. Among the throng, he noticed fellow humans observing with increasing wonder, as the extraterrestrial laborers fidgeted uneasily. This wasn't the typical way these matters unfolded. The 10th strike landed with all of Krell's force, intended to conclude what had turned into a humiliating exhibition of human defiance. Marcus endured, his body trembling as electric impulses ignited every connection. Yet he remained standing, unyielding. As Krell finally unfastened the shackles, Marcus stepped away, moving with his own strength, while the overseer remained fixated on the bloodied punishment post, a glimmer of what could have been respect dancing in his sharp gaze. That evening, as Marcus reclined on his bunk, attempting to make sense of the persistent neural echoes, the door to his quarters chimed gently. He anticipated encountering Lyra, maybe to express her gratitude or offer an apology. Instead, he discovered her siblings. Zane and Cato stood as impressive figures, their scales showcasing the rich, dark hues typical of seasoned Zephyrian males. Marks of struggle etched across their arms and faces, signifying their status as seasoned warriors of the fierce opposition that ultimately succumbed to the power of the hegemony. Until tonight, they had not even recognized Marcus's presence. Both warriors knelt before his bunk, their heads lowered in the customary Zephyrian sign of utmost reverence. Marcus, Chin of Earth, Zane began, his voice laden with feelings that the translator struggled to convey accurately. Your display of integrity is truly commendable. You bore the suffering intended for our sister, sought no reward, and withstood what would have shattered many others. We owe you a great deal. Cato lifted his gaze a fraction, his multifaceted eyes shimmering in the subdued glow of the room. In our culture, there exists a connection known as Velter, a sacred promise of the soul. It unites those who have demonstrated their merit for unwavering confidence. This bond is presented to you, esteemed individual. Your strength is our strength. Your lives are our lives. Until the stars grow dim, we remain by your side. Marcus labored to rise, grimacing as the action tugged at his mending injuries. He gazed upon these noble figures, individuals who had battled against insurmountable challenges and sacrificed all, now bowing before a vanquished human who had merely acted in accordance with their convictions. He spoke softly, I didn't do it for glory. I took action because it was necessary, and she shouldn't have faced such a fate for her efforts to support her loved ones. The siblings shared a glance that conveyed a deep understanding. Gradually, they stood upright, yet an essential shift had occurred in the way they regarded him. That, Zane remarked gently, is precisely why you deserve Velter, Marcus Chin. A genuine fighter engages not for fame, but because there is a need for someone to protect the vulnerable from the shadows. As they prepared to exit, Cato hesitated at the threshold. Tomorrow, the rest of the fighters will learn of the events that transpired in this place. News will circulate through the underground channels to the distant settlements, to the concealed strongholds where those who cherish freedom continue to resist. They will discover that on Kepler 442b, a human endured 10 lashes intended for a Zephyrian girl, sought no reward, and remained unyielding. The door shut softly, isolating Marcus with the dawning awareness that his small gesture of kindness had unexpectedly transformed into something more significant. In a galaxy where humanity was perceived as frail, subjugated, and shattered, he demonstrated that the essence of humanity remained unyielding. Beyond his window, the dual suns lingered behind the shimmering summits, casting hues of optimism across the sky that Marcus had not allowed himself to experience in years. Tomorrow will usher in fresh trials, new targets, and the same arduous toil. But tonight, for the first time since the downfall of Earth, humanity had acquired something invaluable from their extraterrestrial counterparts: honor. In the shadows, Marcus grinned in spite of the agony, aware that often the most profound triumphs arose not from domination but from the silent bravery to rise when others were unable to advocate for themselves.